from your own sense of fatherhood that breathes from you. Just because you want to do something, you father yourself, you love yourself, you respect yourself, you say the most important words that exist in the world, and those are the words you tell yourself. And you capacitate your own self through allowing yourself to experience. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to a video about parents again. On apparently one of your favorite topics that I talk about here on YouTube with you all. First time I spoke about it, was very well, it was super channeled. I was going really through a really rough time. But somehow, the more nervous I am to put some messages out there, it's like, the better reactions they get. So here we go. Today's video is about the father, about fatherhood, about how to become a father, even if you're a girl, so how to father yourself, how to father your children, and how to deal with the father. Fatherhood in astrology is directly linked to sun. Not only though. Yes, you can look into your sun and your birth chart, and upon reading the aspects of your sun with other planets, you understand the interactions the child had with said father. And that those are obviously the same interactions you will have with fatherhood within yourself. So the aspects you have to your sun indicate how well or not you deal with being at one with your identity and making use of who you are, putting your gifts out there to the world. Are you more extroverted to some gifts? Are you more introverted to some other gifts? And that is a reflection of how your father encouraged or discouraged those gifts to you. That doesn't mean that gifts that were discouraged are the ones that you should not put out there. It only means that when it's time for you to prove your worth in those subjects, you will feel a bit more disencouraged. Pardon the redundance. But you will feel a bit more disencouraged, a bit more introverted about it, a bit more maybe fearful, and a bit more scared about people's reactions on those same gifts. Now, what is fatherhood? And this, don't think about your own father. Don't think about your own experience when you hear this definition from me. Don't think about what you have experienced to be fatherhood. This is the definition of what fatherhood is, as in the sky, the weather, the conditions you have on earth, the creatures you see around, how they behave. Fatherhood is the epitome of masculinity in a way. It's when the masculine breeds out of itself. It's when the masculine creates progeny. So in this case, it creates something out of itself. It births something out of itself. That's fatherhood I'm talking about. So what is fatherhood? Fatherhood is a relationship upon which, by means, using the tool of love and respect, you make someone feel capable. You make someone feel respected in their trial and error and the experimentation of life. And through that process of giving them love, showing them respect in all the levels of the experiencing that they're having, you prove them capable. After the experience is done, they see, I did this. I can do this. You can be an orphan. You can have been an abandoned child. You could have been an emotionally neglected child. You could have gone through a narcissistic parent. All of this is great content to you. All of this is great knowledge to you, because you have always the opportunity to father yourself. You always have the opportunity to allow yourself to experience life and to have fun in that experience, and acknowledging that you can do anything you want in your life. I was a child of a narcissistic father, and actually a narcissistic mother too, now that I really think about it. Furthermore, let me just say that I don't agree with the idea that having a narcissistic parent is something good or bad. It's exactly the karmic experience I was supposed to live in here. Because of that, I became the person that I am now. Because of having a narcissistic parent, I was told I couldn't do anything. Every mental ignition that told me, oh, try this, try that, they would say, no, too dangerous, no, too tacky, no, too quirky, no, too just not available right now. You're breathing wrong, you're eating wrong, you're moving wrong, you're dancing wrong, you're doing everything wrong. So I was so unpossibilitized to do anything, that I eventually turned someone who, as I'm doing now, tell people that they are capable to do whatever the fuck they want. So again, just to put out this idea that I don't believe in such a thing as good or bad. Things just are. When we look at them with perspective, and astrology really helps you out with this because it helps you look into your patterns, your cycles, and understand the things and the experiences you brought from your past lives, and why are you here right now, and why do we need these experiences with these relationships to heal those patterns and learn from them, then everything starts making sense. But then, back to the point. Being brought up, by someone who had these attributes and these intentions towards me, if impossibilitating everything that I wanted, like genuinely wanted to do, the fatherhood was not achieved through that love and respect, possibilitating and generating capability. So it was when I was alone that I would experience things by myself and say, I can draw this, I can dance this, I can sing this, I can go and talk to that tree, I can go and make that friend, I can go and play that game, I can go and learn that thing, I can go and have that group experience. And as you go and you pull from your own sense of fatherhood that breathes from you, just because you want to do something, you father yourself, you love yourself, you respect yourself, you say the most important words that exist in the world, and those are the words you tell yourself. And you capacitate your own self through allowing yourself to experience. As simple as that. Fatherhood is a relationship of allowance. When we look at fathers and parents here in the garden, actually I do think that in Hyde Park you get to see that more, but maybe it's the time of day. But when you see, for example, a father teaching a son or a daughter to ride a bike, it is completely different if it's a mom or a dad. A dad will probably say, okay, you sit in there, you grip onto the, what is it?
Handle.
You grip onto the handle, and now the handle is your direction, but just have a feel of it. Okay, there you go. Now you start pedaling, there you go, that's the way to do it. And then they just kind of, they give you a set of rules, but they're very simple and very basic. Then it's just like, all right, go on, experiment. And then the kid falls. And throughout my journey, literally, the voyage of 6 months that you guys know, I witnessed something in Turkey amazing. There was a father teaching his kid. He had a baby on his lap, and like maybe a 3-year-old, riding a little bicycle, a tricycle, with those extra 2 wheels. And the kid somehow fell on the tricycle. He fell on the ground, and he looked up to his dad. And dad was just turned around with the baby, looked at the kid, eye to eye, calm and breezy, just smiled, and then the kid was like, huh, and then he got back up and started paddling again. So this is such a great example to experience and explain, especially fatherhood. Because that father didn't put any particular emotion on it, the kid saw that moment of falling as neutral. Okay, this is part of the process. If the father would have said, you fell again, look at you, you can't do anything right. Alert, well, that kid probably is going to be terribly ashamed of his own mistakes and even fearful of making mistakes. If that father would have done, oh, well done, you did it, oh, you're back on your bike. Okay, super like fireworks activation mode there. Probably there would have been an exaggeration as well. Neutrality is a really interesting ground for parents. Of course, we can say whatever we feel and want to our kids. Obviously, I'm not teaching you how to be a parent, just exploring the idea of fatherhood. But this was a really good way, or a really good example, I feel, to explain what can happen. Because think if a mother was there, she would probably naturally, through, women be like that. We are worried about the baby. We are worried about the safety and security of the baby. But more of that in another video. And the mom would be like, like, all these things ooze its own importance, right? All these things ooze their own, like, oh my God, my precious child just fell. And the father just gave it neutrality, he smiled. Everything's fine. Just keep calm, get up, carry on. So This attitude of looking at the child and smiling and encouraging it to keep on going is that same attitude, that same tool of love and respect. You respect the fact that the child will not be able to do it well at first. You expect the child that they will fall, they will have like moments of disability, so to say, until they reach their Emerald City and they're actually capable of doing things. That is one of the virtues that comes with that love. It's the respect, it's the patience, it's the waiting for it, the allowing that your kid is going to do different than you did, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Fatherhood is a relationship by which the respect you have for the other person allows you yourself, that you know how to do things, you know how to do that particular thing, to see it bloom in a different shape, in a different form of creation for that own person. And that is beautiful. Now, does this mean you can only be fathered by a man? Of course not. Of course not. You are fathered by the masculine in all of us. You are fathered by a woman. You are fathered by a guy, a man, of course. You can be fathered by your granny sometimes. Women naturally will tend to have the role of the mother. Men will naturally tend to have the role of the father. But that doesn't mean that, for example, a single mother won't incur in a more like fatherhood interaction with their children when it's necessary. Same for a single father. You will incur more in a mothership feeling if that needs be. So you can, if you were someone who felt neglected in this sense as you were a kid, you were not allowed so much experimentation, you were not allowed so much love and respect for the things you do, you felt criticized for the things that you do. The truth is that you can start looking at life differently. If you have a project at work that is a bit complicated and your boss is not fathering you well because he's under pressure, you can father yourself in that sense. You say, okay, nothing's gonna come like be done incredibly under this kind of pressure. Yes, pressure is useful, it's true, but not to a point that you're like sweating and like working with your hands shaking and so stressed that you're like borderline burned out. So father yourself in the sense to be patient towards yourself. Respect the time you need. Respect the things you need to do. Respect that it comes with time. Respect your own experimentation. Respect that it needs to be some experimentation and some level of fun and a big, big load of pleasure involved in the activity for things to naturally brew and ferment. And eventually, you will find your own capability. And that one project then repeats itself 200 times. And then you do that easily. Piece of cake. So find this on your friends, if not your family. Find this on your people. And always remember that your father will do to you exactly what you had to be done to become what you are, to develop the gifts that you have. Think of this example I gave you. Think about my own story. My parents didn't allow me to do anything other than what they wanted. God damn it, I even had to become a dentist. In a way, I didn't want to, but I had to. Then I completely let go of it, became an astrologer. So I fathered myself to that point to say, no, I can do what I want. I can experiment the way I want. And I have so much fun when I experience and experiment by myself. Because in that, I learn my own timings, I learn my own ways. I understand that some things take more time, other things literally take seconds, just because I allow myself to experiment them. Give yourself that permission. Or if you need it from someone else, I give you that permission. I did need this from someone else. I did need this from a stranger to come and tell me that, yeah, you're allowed, you can do this. So if that's what you need, you can do it. You can allow yourself to experiment. You can allow yourself that love and that respect and that patience for you to enjoy the experience. Even if you have to drop it after 2 tries and you're like, yeah, this isn't for me, that is also fine. The point is that you entertain the experiment itself. The point is that you act. What we observe when someone experiences a very poor and neglected fatherhood with their father, very, very kind of narcissistic fatherhood, is that people become too afraid to try. People become too afraid to exert their personality and their gift. People become too afraid to exhibit how good they are at doing something. Or, complete opposite spectrum, they become arrogant on it. I do this, I do that, I'm this, I'm that. Oh, look at what I've done. Because they're constantly craving for that fatherly love that says, that's a good job, well done, you're such a good boy, you're such a good girl, look at that, you did that. Amazing, look at what you did. This is such an incredible creation, look at that. You did that all by yourself, and sometimes it's destroying the whole freaking house. But that's, part of the creation. Eventually, with time, the child will learn to put everything back together. So there is a tendency to see these two spectrums of someone who's completely closed in a cave and they're just still in that cave. So if you haven't watched that video, I'm going to leave it in a tag right here. A video about Jupiter, how to get out of the cave your parents put you in. And that is a place that I think you should not be too eager to come out until you feel it's completely safe. It is okay to stay in the cave. It is okay to stay in the cave for stuff like this, for exactly this video, for gaining awareness, to becoming conscious, to make peace with yourself. Yes, you didn't do anything wrong. Your parents did not know how to do better. Your father did not know how to do better. So they did what they had to do. They didn't encourage your experiments, your experiences. They didn't encourage making you capable, because they thought tough love was the way of making you capable. They thought the tough love was the way to make you strong. And sometimes what so many children need is just a hug and a little word of encouragement. And then suddenly they can freaking conquer the world. But because they never got that themselves, they don't even know how to begin on provide that for anyone, not for themselves. So again, a quick rewind. Everything that your parents do to you is exactly what you needed to be done for you to become who you are. For you to develop the gifts you have right now, for you to develop the abilities you have right now. Whether you are in the spectrum of feeling inside the cave, aware of this but unable to leave and super scared of trying it out for yourself, or if you're on the other spectrum, craving for attention and validation of people just to tell you that you exist and that you're doing a good job. Because that's another thing about the father. The father is what breeds your spirit. It's where your personality lies, your qualities, your gifts, your genuine, the abilities you need to put yourself out in society and help mankind ascend and evolve. So when no one validates that, when no one can actually see it, verbalize it in front of you, the truth is you don't exist, because spirit is fire. Fire needs air. Fire needs words. You need words to know that you're going on the right path. So you can be the one providing those words to yourself, but you can find it in someone else. And moreover, you'll need it. That's what I meant by you can find a father in a woman, in a man. You can find a father in any figure. On a priest, you can find a father figure on your boss. You can find a father figure on a colleague, on an uncle. Anything is possible. But remember that it is not in your head. It is not a weird craving that you have. We all need that verbal and physical acknowledgement that we exist, because our spirit lives inside of us. It's our inner fire, that magic, potent will that we have inside ourselves to change the world. And when we don't use it, when we don't reach for goals, when we don't attain to make it something grander than ourselves, we're just putting our own abilities inside a box and going through life like a zombie. And no one deserves that. You certainly don't deserve that. So I hope this video encourages you to get out there, get out of the cave, and start experimenting. Again, just like a child, go back to that feeling, playing with Lego in a way, drawing and just speaking to trees, and allow yourself the respect, the love, and the patience of experimenting. Beloveds, thank you for watching this video. Again, like I said, Jupiter video might be somewhere. The original message of this video was shot in India, but cameraman said the sound was no good, so I had to do it again. I just committed to that. I hope this video has helped you on your processes of understanding the Father in you, the Sun, the Mars, the Jupiter, the Uranus, because in truth, Father is what reveals your vocation. Father is what reveals your purpose. Your purpose is your Sun. Your vocation is your MC. So when the relationship with our Father is debilitated to a point of impossibilitating us of doing what we want, we don't express our vocation, we don't express our purpose, and we don't chase down the career that we want. Or sometimes we're on the place to perfect placing for us to exert all the gifts that we have and the things that we envision and all the dreams that we have, like the dream life we have in our minds. But we don't exert anything. We don't promote ourselves. We don't showcase who we are and the abilities and how we can help others to be greater, becoming greater ourselves. So it is so important that this awareness is turned into like a little twinkle, into something magical in your life, and you really like transform and transmute this connection that you have. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a tight, like, best friend connection with your father. That's not at all what I'm saying. I don't have that myself, but I exert my gifts in the world every time more and more. So learn how to look into that past and see that the awareness you have from it is enough for you to change and become so much bigger than you are right now. I'll see you on the next one. Maybe shall be motherhood. Until then, stay light and stay golden.